I think although the ultimate end goal of any Pokemon game is to beat the gyms and challenge the Elite Four, everybody always thinks in the back of their minds about catching the legendary Pokemon on the cover of each game. I mean, just look at how awesome and powerful some of these Pokemon are. It's no wonder why they earn the title of legendary status. But out of all of the videos I've done in my YouTube career, I talked about my top 10 favorite Pokemon, which needs some rework by the way. But what about the legendary Pokemon? Out of all of these amazing creatures, which ones are actually my favorite? And well, today I've decided to finally answer that question by giving you guys the top 5 best legendary Pokemon, at least in my opinion. Now, when I say the best legendary Pokemon, I don't necessarily mean the strongest Pokemon competitively, more so just my favorites of the bunch. That could mean design, sentimental value, origin, and yes, maybe even competitively. But of course, if you guys disagree, be sure to let me know your favorite legendary Pokemon in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And with that being said, let's get started. I gotta say, Pokemon Sun and Moon, while having their flaws, certainly pulled through in the legendary Pokemon department. From the adorable and cute Cosmog to improving legendary Pokemon of the past like Zygarde, there's just so many gems that come from Alola. But I gotta say, my personal favorite to come out of the 7th generation has to be the cover star of Pokemon Sun, Solgaleo. While Lunala and the Guardian Deities are no slouch at all, Solgaleo just has a special place in my heart because I just love lions. Solgaleo to me is what a Pokemon like Pyroar should have been. It's menacing, badass, and doesn't look tacky at all. At first, I will say though, I was a bit disappointed that Solgaleo was not a fire type because lions and fire go together like maple syrup and pancakes. And with it being the cover star of Pokemon Sun, having some hot colors on its palette, and Sunsteel Strike just looking like a fire move, I just thought it made no sense for it to not be at least part fire type. But when you dive deeper into the Pokemon's lore, I found out that the outside isn't all that matters, and Solgaleo's origin is actually one of the coolest out of any legendary. Solgaleo is based on a lion with a sun motif, a fairly common motif in many Western and Middle Eastern cultures. In particular, Solgaleo is a reference to the alchemical line, and of course, alchemy, the medieval precursor of chemistry. As it's being described as devouring the sun, in alchemy, a lion eating the sun represents the purification of metals, which often leads to steel. Finally, being the emissary rather than the personification of the sun, as well as being able to pass through different dimensions, Solgaleo might lend some inspiration from the Eye of Ra, a goddess usually described as a lion that is the sun's protector in Egyptian mythology as it travels through the underworld. Ergo, why it gets its psychic type. But lore isn't the only thing this Pokemon has. Barring the primals and Rayquaza, Solgaleo has by far one of the best shinies out of all of the legendaries. I mean, just look at it, it's so freaking awesome. I think that the shade of red combined with the other colors just fits this Pokemon perfectly. Battle-wise, I will say, well, it's pretty good if not great, with pretty much decent everything. I'm talking moves, stats, the whole shebang. But there are Pokemon that sort of outclass it in its tier, but I mean, it's still a legendary Pokemon, so at the end of the day, this Pokemon will always be pretty good regardless. Solgaleo is just the whole package, and when you have awesome lore like that behind you, how can you not support this Pokemon? Now I know I said Solgaleo will always have a special place in my heart, but Kyogre I will always hold near and dear to my heart. Although the first ever Pokemon games I played was Pokemon Gold and Silver, the first ever Pokemon game I actually owned was Pokemon Sapphire. And of course, the cover star of that game is none other than the King of the Sea, Kyogre. I mean, it's just such a majestic Pokemon. I know people tend to gravitate towards the more badass Groudon, but there was always something about Kyogre that just attracted my attention more. I don't know if it was because Free Willy was one of my favorite movies as a kid, but it just did. And Hebrew legends played a big part in some of the Gen 3 legendary Pokemon, and Kyogre is no different, being based on the Leviathan, the unconquerable primal master of the sea. Look, I know I said Groudon is badass and all, but how can you not think that's freaking awesome? There are so many cool stories about the Leviathan, but I think the best thing about it has to be the fact that it can also breathe fire. Also, the Hebrew word for Leviathan is now used for whales in modern Hebrew, which is definitely why Kyogre's appearance also draws inspiration from whales. And although I'm not the biggest fan of pink shinies, obtaining a shiny Kyogre is well worth it simply because of how amazing shiny primal Kyogre looks. Make any shiny a nice sleek black color and it's absolutely perfect. And speaking of which, Kyogre already was an amazing Pokemon battle-wise, but when you add its primal version to the mix, it just makes things unfair. 150 physical attack, 160 special defense, and 180 special attack. I mean, need I say more here? Combine that with an amazing move pool and a great ability in Drizzle, and you pretty much got yourself a Pokemon that will make you shit your pants. Seriously, what can't Kyogre do? What can I really say about Generation 4? Though not my favorite games of all time, I can't deny how good Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were. They introduced great mechanics, stories, starters, and of course, legendary Pokemon. But by far the best legendary to come out of the Gen 4 games has to be the god of the distortion world, Giratina. I mean, I know this Pokemon may have some inspiration from Satan himself, but come on, how can you not think this Pokemon looks badass? Whether it be its bulky looking altered form or its more serpentine origin form, both look intimidating, awesome, whatever superlative you want to add, it's got it. Now when it comes to the origin, this Pokemon has several different references from the devil, the Seta, and even antimatter. The Seta probably has to be one of the more interesting ones because it's based on a Japanese fairy tale called My Lord a Bag of Rice. What a name, by the way. The Seta is said to be a large centipede that prey on dragon hatchlings and can be as large as frickin' mountains. But the latter is what Junichi Masuda himself stated Giratina was, the personification of antimatter. The story basically goes that since Arceus, its counterpart, went around creating everything we see in the Pokemon universe, it somehow accidentally created Giratina. This is the case because whenever matter is created, antimatter forms as well, canceling each other out. So where Arceus creates, Giratina destroys. Which is why Giratina always had these tie-ins to the devil and hell, because Arceus is viewed as God. That and the fact that it has 6 spikes, 6 ribs, and 6 legs didn't help either, but I still think the backstory is interesting nonetheless. And I think this Pokemon got a bad rap, at least in the Pokemon world, because of it, and it made me feel a bit sorry for it. Combine all of that with it just being an absolute tank in battle, then you pretty much got yourself a Pokemon that I will treasure for the rest of my life. As we all know by now, Pokemon Sapphire was the first ever Pokemon game that I actually owned. And trust me, while I do love Kyogre for that sentimental value, it's not my favorite legendary from Generation 3. No, that title would have to go to my second favorite legendary Pokemon of all time, Rayquaza. I don't really know how to put into words what I like about this Pokemon design-wise, but it's just really freaking cool. It's the perfect mixture of of menacing, badass, majestic. It's just such a perfect Pokemon. I think I first fell in love with this Pokemon right as I first saw that opening title sequence in Pokemon Emerald, and it just further solidified itself when I saw how awesome it was in the Destiny Deoxys movie. One of my personal favorite movies in the entire Pokemon franchise. Even though Rayquaza was sort of the antagonist in the movie, I found myself rooting for him to win. And that's just because it's so freaking badass. Rayquaza, like Kyogre, is also based on the Hebrew legends, but this time of Ziz, a giant griffin-like bird who is the incomparable primal master of the sky. Its appearance also draws inspiration from other creatures of mythology such as the Chinese dragon and the lindworm. Alternatively, Rayquaza matches the description of the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, who was depicted as a flying serpent and created the boundary between the earth and the sky. And we're just talking about Rayquaza's regular design. Once OmegaRuby and AlphaSapphire came out, they added a new Mega Evolution in Mega Rayquaza, making an already powerful and amazing Pokemon even better. Now, in contrast to how I dislike the fact that Salamence got a Mega Evolution, Rayquaza's Mega Evolution was more tied into the story, so I kind of gave it a pass here. Plus, I just love how the patterns on Rayquaza's body pop out and become streams on the Mega. Not to mention those shinies. I mean, just take me home already, man. Do whatever you want to me, Rayquaza. Just do whatever you want. Anyways, battle-wise, do I really need to say anything here? I mean, it's so broken that Smogon had to make its own tier for the thing. And that's just the Mega. Even without it, it's still really good. Now, if this were a list about the strongest legendary Pokemon, there would be no question Rayquaza would be at the top of the list. But there is one more Pokemon that I love just a bit more. Now, if you guys saw my video last week on the top 5 Pokemon that everybody loves, then you should already know who's rounding up the top of this list. It's none other than the Guardian of the Seas, Lugia. I mean, what can I say about this guy that hasn't already been said in previous videos? Well, I was first introduced to Pokemon by a close family relative that lent me his Game Boy Color and a copy of Pokemon Silver. Yes, Pokemon Sapphire was the first game I owned, but like I said before, Pokemon Gold and Silver were the first Pokemon games I ever played. Lugia was a big part of my childhood simply because I saw it so much during those times. And although Hoa was pretty cool and all, I was always mesmerized by Lugia simply because of how awesome it was in the Pokemon 2000 movie. Plus, I don't know, I always thought the design was so freaking adorable too. I mean, just look at baby Lugia. Oh. Speaking of which, like I've stated in my previous videos, Lugia is most likely based on the Ryujin, which is the dragon god of the sea in Japanese mythology that can control tides with magical jewels. What's even more amazing about this design though is that its shiny actually has meaning. Of course, at first I didn't really like this shiny, as you can see here in my top 5 best shinies video, but as I stated before in my Everybody Loves video, its shiny variation, which consists of light pink and maroon, matches the colors of Ryujin's Undersea Palace. And to me, that's just really freaking cool. Giving meaning behind a shiny just adds more of a dimension to a Pokemon's design. But at the same time, a part of me wishes that Lugia's shiny looked more like Shadow Lugia, simply because of how menacing and awesome it looked. As far as battling goes, it's got a fantastic typing, amazing bulk, great move pool, and of course, multi-scale. It's one of the more annoying Pokemon to use considering how stally it is, but I mean, it's a legendary, it's always going to be good. At the end of the day, it was the mascot of my channel, so I'm obviously going to have a lot of love for this Pokemon, and if it weren't for Charizard, it would still be to this day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and become an Eryizo today. If you want to check out the previous video I did, be sure to click the annotation on the left. If you want to see more Pokemon Let's Go videos, click the other annotation on the right. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time.